The difference between a 7-figure e-commerce brand and an 8-figure, 9-figure e-commerce brand is the quality of their systems. And in this video, I'm going to talk specifically about the systems required to scale Facebook ads in 2025 and beyond. I'm going to be sharing all the systems that we use at my agency to scale brands to 8 figures or multiple 8 figures. And my goal with this video is that you can take these systems and apply them in your own brand to produce better ad creatives, to produce a higher volume of ad creatives, but most importantly, produce more ad creatives that actually win. Because the real unlock for meta ads, assuming you have a solid product, you have product market fit, you have a good offer, you have a good conversion rate AOV, the key unlock is being able to find more winning ads. Okay, so yes, you need to produce more volume, but also you need to maintain quality. Okay, so that's what we're really getting at here. And the systems that I'm going to share with you today are designed exactly for that. What if you could, instead of producing one winning ad for every 10 ads you produce, what if you could then produce 2 winning ads for every 10 ads you produce? You just doubled your efficiency of finding winning ads. And what that's going to mean is going to mean you can scale your ads much more consistently because you have more winners, and it's much more predictable as to how many ads you need to actually produce to find the winners. So before we dive in, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jordan Hayes. I've been running a marketing agency since 2020, and we help e-commerce brands scale to 8 figures and multiple 8 figures. The way that we do that is through different done-for-you services. If you would like an agency to come in and handle all your meta ad creative for you, or even just part of your meta ad creative, and even handle the meta ads media buying as well, then this is exactly what we do. This is our bread and butter. If you are interested in that, then you can find the link below this video in the description to go to my website and book a call with me. We'll talk about your business and see if there's a fit for us to work together. But let's dive into the video. So just want to share some proof that I'm qualified to speak on the topic of not just producing winning ads, but actually scaling e-commerce brands as well, because that's really what we focus on, is not just focusing on the ads, but how do we actually grow and build a profitable e-commerce business. As one of our clients the last 90 days, just over $2.2 million in revenue. So what I want to share with you today is different systems. First of all, we're going to go into core infrastructure and tools. Then we're going to talk about the creative talent management. And then we're going to talk about the end-to-end creative workflow. Then we're going to finish off with the operational advantages of all of these systems. Now, having run an agency for 5 years, our internal systems have evolved a lot over the years, right? When we started out, it looked nothing like this, right? And what I'm going to share with you today is not the be-all, end-all of creative systems. There's multiple ways to do it. There's no hard and fast rules. What I'm going to show you today is what works for us, okay? We have multiple clients. We're producing hundreds of ads every single month. We need systems that are going to keep us on track. They're going to keep us organized. And if these systems have been battle tested for hundreds and hundreds of ads, even thousands of ads, then I'm sure they're going to work for you. So all I'm going to do is just share what's working for us today. And if you want to apply it within your own business, feel free to do so. But yeah, let's get right into it, okay? First thing, core infrastructure and tools. The first thing that we use is Notion, and this is really the creative control center. So what we do is that each client has their own creative board and creator database board. I'm going to show you both of these in just a moment. And the boards are structured across 4 different stages. We have ideation, production, post-production, and launch, okay? So the creative board, what it does, it just keeps all the briefs, the status updates, the team assignments, and metadata in one centralized place. And this is the key. And I've just found much better than using something like a very simple Trello, Kanban board, or even something on ClickUp. We love Notion. We use it for the majority of our systems internally. So it just works for us. Now, how this would actually work for you is you would have your own creative board, something just like this one. And as I mentioned, we have these different stages. In the ideation stage, we have different sub-stages as well. Then, when ideas move to production, we have all these ads that are already in production, right? So requests, actually filming the brief. This is, for content creators actually filming the content. We have the requests that come in, the filming brief, which is the brief that's being written for the content creator. Ready to assign means it's ready to assign to a content creator. Filming means it's being filmed by the content creator. Content revision means this is what's come back after we've requested revisions from the content creator. And then we have approvals, and then editing brief is automatically puts that into the post-production phase. And then this is when it actually is in the editing stage. So we have the content. Now it just needs to be edited into ads, right? This is for images and videos. We have ready to edit, editing, first delivery, edit revision, and then ready to launch as well. And then when it goes to launch, this is when the media buyer is notified that this is ready to launch on the ad platforms, okay? Then we have all the ads that are launched itself. So within this, of course, each card, each creative has a specific ID, right? Once it's in the post-production phase of actually editing, it gets an ID, right? Within each creative, there's a lot of sub-data. We have like the link to the edited creative folder on Google Drive, just so that we can access that very quickly. The ID corresponds to the actual, when we upload this in the Facebook Ads Manager, we have the same ID, right? And that just means we can easily find winning ads in the Ads Manager back in Notion if we want to iterate on those, okay? So again, just organization. We have different owners, and then of course like status, priority, what kind of media it is, where it's going to be launched, campaign type, and then we have the comment section, and then the actual space of the Notion card itself is where all of the reference and the brief goes for the creative itself. Okay, so this is how the creative board works. It's simple, but it works, right? We don't want something too complex. We've had more complex systems in the past, and one thing is actually having a system that works. Another thing is making sure your system can be used by the people on your team every day. Okay. And if you have too many hoops to jump through, too many things that the team has to do, it's unlikely that everything is going to be followed, right? So you want to try and strike the balance between not being too simple, not being too complex, falling somewhere in the middle, and at the same time being effective, okay? And still being organized. And we feel like we've achieved that with this creative board. It's worked for us for a number of years, okay? So that's the first thing. Second thing I want to share is Google Drive and Air.ink. And this is both of file storage and organization platforms that we use. Google Drive is mainly just storing all raw and edited files sorted by client and creator. We sort this for our client in subfolders. But then we use Air.ink, and this is really a game changer. This is how you take the content and you put it on steroids. So Air.ink just serves as a visual content hub. And by the way, Air.ink is one of the platforms that you can do this. There are other ones out there. We just use Air. But basically what this allows us to do is we organize all the content by creator. Again, same as Google Drive, but where it changes is when we start using the tags of what type of content. So we organize all the individual clips. We use these different tags to understand what type of clip it is. And then we tag by content creator. We also tag, specifically what the video is and what that content creator is doing. So it makes it easier to find the specific clips that we can use in ad creators in the future, right? And this is really what it's all about, is how do we create an organization system of content so that we don't have to always go out and get new content when we might already have that content already, right? We might already have that B-roll clip, or we might already have someone doing that thing that we want them to do, that we want to include in the ad. So this allows for organization. It allows the editing team and the creative strategist to actually find what content we already have in a much faster way. And it allows us to save money because we're not always asking content creators for new content that we actually already have. And it also allows us to save time because of the speed we're actually able to find that content, okay? And when you think about, a lot of brands paying for content, using that content once and then discarding it, the fact that we can reuse it over and over again, we just get more bang for that buck that we're spending on that content, okay? So that is really just how we use both those platforms. And then finally, we have the frameworks library. This is where we have the systematized video and static templates based on D2C best practices and direct response psychology. I've gone through a lot of frameworks on my channel before in my ad creative videos, and we store all these in one place just so that we have an access point to help with ideation, basically. Examples of frameworks, hook, problem, brand intro, solution, features, outcome, CTA. Frameworks are just built up of individual blocks, as you can see here. And there's no one way to do this as well. But ultimately, just want to share that we have this library, and that is something you should have as well. If you want to learn more about the actual frameworks that we use, then there's tons of other videos on my channel going into the ad creative breakdowns where I share specific frameworks that 8-figure, 9-figure brands are using to scale their meta ads. And you can check those videos out, okay? So what this also means is that new team members coming into the system, they can instantly execute briefs aligned with proven structures, right? Because we have all this knowledge over the years. If you have new people coming into the business, then you want to make sure they're up to speed and that the systems are designed for them to be able to leverage the learnings of the past and them not having to completely learn the ropes and start from scratch, okay? So that is the core infrastructure and tools. Let's move on to the creative talent management and the creator database, which we have, again, per client. So the creator database looks something like this. Again, it's on Notion. And what this does is it stores all the individual content creators that are working with that client, okay? And I recommend having something like this as well, because, we can put in their name, email address, their gender, their Instagram profile, the location, the address for shipping them the product, payment details for actually paying them, whether it's through PayPal or whatever, the actual rate per UGC, TikTok, if it aligns, age, if it matters, and whether they've signed an agreement or whether it's been sent for signature. Okay, so this just allows us to keep a database of those. And as you can see here, at the top we have status, whitelisting, active, inactive, etc. Okay, so as I mentioned, it stores all the info on creators, influencers, UGC talent. It links to their Google Drive folders at Air.ink files for easy access to raw and edited content. It tracks usage, feedback, and performance for scalable casting decisions, okay? So this is important, especially as you're scaling, because, you really find whether your systems work at scale. Any system can really work at a low scale, right? It can be very simple and it can work. But when you stress test it with scale, with volume, that's when you really start to see if there's cracks within the system. And again, you want to be able to keep track of all the content creators you're working with, because you're going to scale content creators. You're going to start working with more and more content creators the more you scale your ads. So it's just important to track those just as well as you track the creatives that you're producing. So that's the creative database. Now let's talk about our end-to-end creative workflow within these systems and leveraging these systems. So when we're creating net new creative processes, whether it's videos, UGC, and we're actually having to get that content, it starts with ideation, right? So the creative strategist on our team drafts the idea in a dedicated idea card using proven frameworks and templates, the script, the B-roll notes, the filming specs. And by the way, the reason why I'm showing you this is because these are SOPs that we have internally for our team. And if you have a team internally that is producing ad creatives for you, I would recommend having SOPs in place as well within the systems, showing them how to actually use the systems, right? Having the systems itself is one thing, but then having standard operating procedures, SOPs, that show people how to use the systems is just as important, because if you have a system, that's all well and good until people can actually use it and use it to its max potential, okay? So we have something like this for actually creating new creatives. So we have ideation, then we have the ready to assign, and then here are just the notes that actually how you can actually move this to ready to assign and when you should do that, right? So once the concept is solidified, the strategist completes all fields, title, product platform, all this stuff, and the creative coordinator assigns to a vetted creator. Then it goes to filming, then it goes to content review and revisions, ready to edit, first delivery, ready to launch, and then we have just notes as to when this should happen as well. Okay, so this is that the internal team can follow this. Another type of process, which is scripted or asset-based variations. When we're creating iterations or variations from existing content that we already have, a much simpler process, but basically ideation, ready to edit, first delivery, revisions, ready to launch, because we're leveraging existing content that we don't actually have to go out and have all these different filming stages, content review stages, etc. Okay. So lastly, just operational advantages to using this. I touched on some of these already, but the first thing is cross-functional clarity, okay? Each stakeholder in the process, the strategist, the editor, the creator, the coordinator, the media buyer, they see exactly what's in motion and what stage. It's very important that your team is coordinated and aligned and on the same page as to what creatives are coming down the line. For example, your media buyer needs to know how many creatives are going to be ready next week. Your editors need to know how many videos are they going to need to edit in the next week. Your strategist needs to make sure that they're producing enough creatives to meet the ad spend that the media buyer is deploying on the platforms, okay? And someone that's going out and finding content creators, they need to know how many content creators they actually need to find next week to be able to produce the number of content pieces that we need, okay? So the next thing is creative volume tracking, and it ensures each client is receiving a consistent cadence of fresh assets. Of course, for us as an agency, we track this per client. For you as a brand internally, it's just making sure that you're producing enough creatives to ensure that you're meeting the creative volume for your ad spend level, okay? Next thing is creative variety oversight. And this tracks diversity across hooks, angles, formats, creators, and platforms, just to make sure that you have a lot of diversity in terms of the content that you're producing, and you're not just producing all of the same style of content, right? That diversity is important to make sure you can hit new audiences on the platform and on Facebook ads, and just make sure that you're keeping things diverse and appealing to different segments of the audience. And finally, this system is scalable to 7, 8, and 9-figure brands. It's optimized for volume, speed, and structured experimentation, which is all crucial when creative is the number one lever at scale, okay? So running a brand, if you're doing at least 7 figures, you know that ad creative is so important for your Facebook ads. And trust me, having a system like this in place just makes the process so much easier, right? You don't want to be having, systems that are kind of pieced together. You don't want to be having like fragmented systems where you're using using ClickUp for this and Notion for that and Google Drive for that. You want to try and centralize it as much as possible and just keep things organized and streamlined. But again, you want to find that balance between something that's not too simple, but again, actually works for you at scale and doesn't, is robust enough to not crack under the pressures of volume, okay? So if you have any questions about this, just comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, just breaking down the internal systems that we use at my agency to scale brands to 8 figures and multiple 8 figures in revenue, then just also comment down below. I'll be happy to create more videos just like this one. All right, that's it for this video. If you are looking for a partner to help you scale your e-commerce brand effortlessly and just shortcut the learning process of actually scaling and winning on meta ads, then this is exactly what my agency Haze does for a handful of e-commerce brands. We only work with a small number of clients to keep our quality level high. If you're interested and you're serious about scaling and you want a team that has a proven track record and it's not their first rodeo, a team that you don't have to be on top of, that can just come in and run this part of the business for you, then as I said, there's a link below this video in the video description to my website. You can go ahead, book a call directly with me. We'll have a chat about your business. If it's not a good fit, I'll let you know up front. If it is a good fit, we'll talk about what the next steps look like. All right, that's it for this one, and I'll see you in the next video.